100G has moved out of research and into long-haul transmission, meaning more photonic engineers are having to deal with optical modulation analyzers with new setups. In this video, we show how Agilent helps you meet such challenges with some of the features in the new software for our family of optical modulation analyzers. We will explain how you can set the instrument up quickly and easily, get a comprehensive overview of your measurement results, and control and configure your optical modulation analyzer hardware. The Smart Setup helps you get up and measuring faster by making the settings the analyzer needs based on basic information about the signal. To measure, the instrument needs the carrier frequency. In this example, we know this wavelength is somewhere around 1550 nanometers. As soon as we enter this value, Smart Setup sets the related parameters. Now you can see that 1550 nanometers was a little bit off for the possible channels. With a single click, we correct the channel and adjust the carrier frequency to the correct value. The symbol rate is another important parameter the Smart Setup can determine when you give it a rough estimate. Important here is to ensure fine-tuned symbol rate is selected. Then it will adjust within the shown range. In the Smart Setup, you can also select the modulation from the most common formats used in optical coherent transmission. The VSA, of course, gives you access to a wide range of other modulations. And you can ask Smart Setup to determine whether the applied signal is single or dual polarization. If you are measuring your signal at the end of a link, you may need to correct for chromatic and polarization mode dispersions after you have measured them. Smart Setup can look after this if you select the compensations. Just make sure you have a rough estimate of the CD by entering the details of the link. Smart Setup can also provide a default layout if you choose to select it. Otherwise, it will keep your current screen layout. And after a few seconds, the parameters are set and you start your measurement. By the way, if you work with standard 100G signals, you can use the presets to set up even faster. You just need to set the carrier frequency, and Smart Setup makes the rest of the settings. The default screen layout of the Optical Modulation Analyzer gives you a wide variety of results and supports to make more measurements. The Optical Signal Summary gives you results that apply to an optical signal independent of polarization. You can also see the results that apply to IQ data streams in particular polarizations. The Optic Properties give you an overview of the signal quality and potential issues in the transmitter-modulator alignment. You also get BER measurement results for each polarization, in this case showing the estimated BER assuming an arbitrary Gaussian distribution of white noise. But while Smart Setup is a great way to get your measurements started, you can still apply the full flexibility you already know from the full Optical Modulation Analyzer software, for example, to select the processing algorithms. Of course, the Smart Setup pre-selects certain algorithms. You can add or remove these, or alter the settings to better suit your test. Or you can adjust the measurement settings individually. For example, you can add real bit error ratio measurements. Make sure the bit error ratio measurement is enabled. Then select the correct PRBS. After a few burst measurements, you get the real counted bit error ratio and error statistics for each polarization. You can also select a cross-channel bit error analysis table. Or you can get the error statistics for each symbol in the constellation. Whether you are working with the N4391A or the N4392A, we have also fully integrated control of your hardware from this version of the Optical Modulation Analyzer. For example, with the optical center, you can set up the frequency of the local oscillator in the same way as in Smart Setup. In the N4392A Compact Optical Modulation Analyzer, you can also control the auxiliary source in this way. For the N4391A and the N4392A optical modulation analyzers, you can set up various hardware configurations for easy reuse. To add a new configuration, go to the Configurations dialog and select the green plus. Select the logical instrument and add it to the configuration. You can then select the associated instruments. Here, for example, we select the electrical inputs. Then give the configuration a name. Now you can select the configuration, and the Optical Modulation Analyzer will set up the hardware in seconds. For the N4391A, you can even use this to store configurations with various oscilloscopes and local oscillators. In short, the features introduced in the new software for the Optical Modulation Analyzer start with Smart Setup to make your work efficient, even if you are new to modulation analysis, but keeping the full flexibility to fine-tune the settings for more demanding applications. They continue with measurement possibilities like interpolated results and summaries of optical parameters and bit error ratios. And last but not least, this version also introduces seamless integration of hardware control and setup, including an easy way to manage a variety of hardware configurations. These are just some of the new features we have in the pipeline. Check the dedicated webpage regularly to keep up to date with what is new for the Agilent Optical Modulation Analyzer.